Mitragyna Speciosa, also known as Kratom, is a plant with depressant and stimulant qualities that's indigenous to Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and other countries. People have used it in those areas for centuries. Depending on the dose, users receive coca-like stimulant effects or opium-like depressant effects. Its various properties have allowed it to be used in recreational, work, and medical settings. It's a member of the Rubiaceae family, which includes genera like Coffea, thereby botanically grouping Kratom with other plant drugs like coffee. Among its positive effects are stimulation, sedation, euphoria, greater sexual desire, enhanced work output, greater sociability, increased motivation, pain relief, and fatigue reduction. The negative effects include dizziness, nausea, vomiting, hangover, itchiness, and reduced sexual performance. Stimulant effects are generally shorter lasting and appear with lower doses, whereas high doses bring about a longer lasting depressant effect. Different effects have long been connected to various types of kratom. Red veins, green veins, and white veins all have their own potential effect profile. There's not much research in this area, so it's not clear how real the differences are. If there are differences, people claim white vein is more stimulating, red vein is more sedating, and green vein is a mix. Orally, the drug lasts for 2 to 4 hours and begins working in 15 to 20 minutes. Some hangover or afterglow effects can exist for up to 6 hours. Kratom contains a number of active drugs which likely contribute to its overall effects, and different drugs may be responsible for the stimulant versus depressant actions. Two of the primary drugs are mitragynine and 7-hydroxymitragynine, both of which function as opioid agonists. Mu, delta, and kappa opioid receptors are involved. 5-HT2A antagonism and alpha-2 adrenergic receptor agonism could be playing a role, but kratom's pharmacology is far from completely understood. There's also evidence suggesting adenosine antagonism and calcium channel blocking may be important. One of kratom's drugs, rincophylline, operates as an NMDA antagonist and calcium channel blocker. Other potentially important drugs, like mitraphyline, need to be investigated further. At this point, the most important actions seem to come from opioid agonism and potentially A2 agonism, serotonin antagonism, and adenosine antagonism. I can see how those actions could result in stimulation or sedation depending on the dose used. The plant was first described by Peter Corthals, a Dutch botanist, in 1839. It's been used in Thailand and surrounding countries for centuries, generally for work reasons, recreationally, and as an anti-diarrhea substance. In the 1800s, reports of its role as an opium substitute appeared in Malaysia, and it was even used to replace amphetamines by some people in Thailand in the 1900s. A report in 1930 discussed how it could be used to combat opioid withdrawal, and its own withdrawal symptoms have been in the literature since the mid-1900s. In 1921, Ellen Field isolated mitragynine, which has long been viewed as the most important chemical in the plant. 7-hydroxymitragynine, which is also now viewed as important despite being present in smaller amounts, was identified in 1993. Research on mitragynine in the 1960s and 1970s was fueled by a desire to find alternative pain relievers. Compared to some opioids, like codeine, it was found to have a useful effect profile. One of the most common uses of kratom has been in physical work settings. It is said to help people deal with the heat and carry out difficult physical work. In this regard, it can be compared to coca in South America. It's been combined with various other drugs, including the areca nut, codeine, dextromethorphan, and antihistamines. Kratom is now used globally and is sold online and in stores. Much of it comes from Indonesia since it isn't controlled there. There are a few reports of kratom or its active chemicals being sold in herbal high blends, including under the name Ketum. Kratom is almost always taken orally and is rarely smoked. When taken as a tea, it's common to add flavoring agents like sugar or honey in order to hide kratom's bitter taste. Lemon juice is sometimes added, which may enhance the extraction of kratom's drugs. A light oral dose is 2 to 4 grams, a common dose is 3 to 5 grams, and a strong dose is 5 to 8 grams. Kratom is not controlled in the United States, but some restrictions are present in individual states. Louisiana has banned sales to minors, and its active chemicals are controlled in Tennessee, Vermont, Indiana, and Wisconsin. It's illegal in Thailand and Malaysia. High doses don't appear to be particularly dangerous when used alone, even though a big part of its activity comes from opioid agonism. However, it can be very uncomfortable due to nausea and vomiting. Respiratory depression isn't a particularly notable issue, but you should still avoid combining it with other depressants like alcohol and benzodiazepines. Its lethal amount isn't known, but it's highly unlikely a healthy person would accidentally encounter a lethal amount when not using other drugs. Deaths or serious adverse effects have been connected to it, but generally with other drugs present. There are reports of problems arising following its use with various substances, including methamphetamine, deuterostramonium, modafinil, other depressants, and synthetic cannabinoids. It's believed kratom may be a very important factor in some of the recorded deaths, but it may not have been lethal in the absence of other drugs. Large amounts have been connected to seizures, and chronic use is associated with dry mouth, constipation, and a darkening of the skin. Liver health concerns do exist, but very little is known about kratom's potential liver toxicity. While the reported liver issues could be from extraction chemicals and contamination, you should keep the concerns in mind with chronic use in case kratom is liver toxic. Withdrawal does exist with kratom, and it can include irritability, diarrhea, pain, low motivation, runny nose, anxiety, and sleep trouble. If you have any questions about kratom, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Support on Patreon is greatly appreciated, so if you'd like to contribute, you can head to patreon.com/thedrugclassroom. You can also contribute through YouTube, PayPal, or Bitcoin using the addresses and links in the description. You can connect with me on Twitter at Seth A. Fitzgerald and via email at seth@thedrugclassroom.com. More information and links to references can be found on the TDC website using the link below.